Hey warriors, welcome back. The Machiavellian Mind. You think you're poor because you have nothing, not. You're poor because you think like a slave. You were taught to kneel, to obey, to wait for permission that will never come. The system didn't just take your money, it took your mind. It infected you with a virus that makes you grateful for scraps. It convinced you that humility means submission, that patience means passivity. But Machiavelli saw the truth centuries ago. Poverty isn't a lack of money. It's a lack of power. And the world doesn't pity the powerless. It feeds on them. The moment you beg for sympathy, you're not asking for help. You're announcing to everyone that you can be controlled. They break you, not with chains, but with obedience. Not by taking your money, but by taking your mind. This isn't a motivational speech. This is a declaration of war. A war for your psychology. And today, I'm giving you the weapons. Today, we burn the slave mentality to the ground. You wake up every day feeling the weight, the bills, the doubts, the feeling that you're always behind. You look at your bank account and you see proof. Proof that you're less. Proof that you failed. I'm here to tell you that's a lie. The bank account is just a symptom. The disease is in your mind. Poverty begins as an infection. A silent, creeping virus that rewires your thoughts to obey, to settle, to accept mediocrity as your destiny. The world doesn't have to chain you if your mind is already enslaved. Where did you get this virus? From everywhere. They called it staying humble. They told you, know your place. They said, be grateful for what you have, while the powerful took everything you were told to wait for. This belief spreads through your habits, your words, your very posture, until you start apologizing for wanting more. The poor man's curse is not his lack of resources. It's his worship of limits. He looks at power and convinces himself it's evil. Because deep down, he's terrified he'll never have it. And that fear becomes his master. Machiavelli said, he who becomes a master of a city accustomed to freedom and does not destroy it, will be destroyed by it. Your mind is that city. It's accustomed to the freedom of thinking big, of dreaming of power. But the virus is the invader that taught you to think small. If you don't destroy those weak thoughts, they will destroy your potential. Every time you tell yourself, I can't, you feed the virus. Every time you envy someone else's success instead of strategizing your own. You feed the virus every time you seek approval before you act. You give the throne in your own head to doubt. The system thrives on this weakness. It wants obedient workers, not powerful thinkers. It rewards compliance and punishes rebellion. And the moment you start questioning why you live like a servant, they call you arrogant. But let me be clear, that arrogance is not your enemy. It's the first spark of self-respect. The mind that refuses to bow is the mind that begins to rule. Dark psychology teaches that control always begins with perception. If you see yourself as less, the world will treat you as less. You project poverty before you ever experience it. Your energy, your posture, your eyes, they tell people whether they can dominate you. That's why the rich can lose everything and still rise again. Their minds never learn submission. The poor, on the other hand, could win the lottery and still think like victims. They would waste the fortune trying to look rich instead of learning to be powerful. It's never about the money. It's about the mindset. When your brain is programmed to depend, you will always kneel before those who appear stronger. Your first mission is to break that program. Stop seeking rescue. Stop believing anyone is coming to save you. No one is coming. And that is your greatest advantage. Because once you accept that, you become unstoppable. You stop asking for permission to rise. I want you to type this in the comments right now. Let this be the first step in rewriting your code. Type, my mind bows to no one. Now let's talk about how the game is really played. The world doesn't reward truth. It rewards dominance. Most people are addicted to appearing honest instead of appearing strong. They think integrity will save them. But Machiavelli knew better. He said, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Appearance rules perception, and perception rules power. When you look weak, you invite predators. When you act helpless, you signal permission to be controlled. People aren't kind. They're calculating. They measure you silently, reading your tone, your eyes, your posture, searching for any sign of fear or doubt. The moment they find it, you become prey. That's why power is a performance. You must play strength until it becomes real. You must train your face to show certainty, even when your heart is burning. The powerful act unshaken because they understand one brutal truth. The world cannot tell the difference between confidence and reality. If you look untouchable, you become it. Let me give you the rules of the performance. Rule 1. Never look defeated. Even when you're bleeding internally, you stand tall. That's not lying, it's strategy. You wear confidence like armor, so your enemies waste their strength attacking your surface while you quietly rebuild behind it. Rule 2. Control the tempo. In a room full of talkers, be the one who watches. When chaos erupts, speak last. Move slow, hold your gaze steady. The man who appears composed controls everything. Weakness is visible through emotion, reaction, and tone. If your face reveals panic, you lose before the fight begins. Rule 3. Master the unreadable. Confidence is camouflage. It hides your insecurity and blinds your rivals. Let people assume you know more than you do. Let them believe you have allies they cannot see. Let them overestimate your strength. It's always better to be overestimated than to be underestimated. The world worships images more than reality. That's why kings wear crowns, even when their kingdoms are crumbling. They understand that power lives in the performance of authority. You must build that presence, even when your pockets are empty. You don't need luxury to command attention. You need composure. That's what separates men who lead from men who follow. Every look, every gesture, every pause, it's all part of your act. You're not pretending to be powerful. You are conditioning others to treat you as powerful. And once they do, you start believing it yourself. And that belief reshapes your destiny. The poor act small because they think small. The powerful act grand because they refuse to be anything less. The greatest poverty isn't financial. It's emotional dependence. Most people aren't chasing success. They're chasing approval. They need to be seen, understood, accepted, and validated. That is the poor man's trap. It looks harmless, like a comfortable cage, but it drains your power faster than any financial debt. The moment you need others to validate your worth, you hand them control over your identity. You make your emotions a public stock market, and you let anyone with an opinion crash your value. Machiavelli understood this at the deepest level. He said, "It is much safer to be feared than loved if one must choose." Why? Because love and approval depend on others. But fear, or in our terms, respect, is something you can create yourself through your composure and your actions. Validation is a leash disguised as a comfort blanket. When you seek it, you're announcing that your emotions are for sale, and the world loves a desperate buyer. It will give you nothing and take everything. The weak talk too much. They explain their motives, defend their pain, beg to be understood. But the powerful understand that silence is sharper than speech. Silence forces people to guess. Guessing makes them uneasy. And unease equals respect. The poor man confuses noise for strength. He thinks if he just talks enough, explains enough, people will finally see his value. But in truth, every extra word is a confession of insecurity. You can always recognize weakness. It seeks understanding. Strength doesn't care. Strength doesn't explain. The lion doesn't justify its roar. The world already knows what it means. That's how you must operate. Every time you beg to be seen, you lower your value. Every time you explain your pain, you lose leverage. The poor crave attention because it's the only currency they think they have left. The rich in spirit, however, use mystery as power. They don't show their suffering. They weaponize it. They walk into rooms like they owe nothing to anyone. That's dominance. Machiavelli teaches that people only value what they can't fully read. If they can predict you, they can control you. If you're emotionally transparent, they can manipulate you. The antidote is restraint. Learn to let your silence speak. Watch how the room changes when you stop explaining yourself. They start respecting you, not because you demand it, but because your lack of reaction frightens them. People fear what they can't decode. And that is where your power lives, in being unreadable. Stop chasing validation like a child chasing a light. You don't need anyone's permission to be powerful. You don't need applause to know your worth. Let them misunderstand you. It's a small price for dominance. A man with nothing to lose is dangerous. But a man who acts like he's already a king is untouchable. This is where the psychology of kingship begins. Not in possessions, but in perception. The poor man waits for abundance to feel worthy. The powerful man uses scarcity as fuel to dominate. Machiavelli said, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him." Kings understand that the quality of their circle mirrors the strength of their mindset. That means even when you have nothing, you must act as though your time and your presence are gold. When you move like a king, people start treating you like one. Your posture, your decisions, your silence, they must all communicate authority. The world believes what you project. If you project control, it will obey. If you project desperation, it will consume you, even in poverty. You can carry yourself with composure. Your tone can remain steady. Your eyes can stay cold. Your emotions can stay locked behind the walls of discipline. These are weapons no one can confiscate. The man who commands himself commands destiny. Thinking like a king means refusing to participate in chaos. It means standing still while others scramble. You don't react. You respond. You don't chase validation. You let your presence do the talking. When you walk into a room, you measure it silently, not with arrogance, but with precision. Kings don't rush because speed belongs to the desperate. They move slowly, not because they lack urgency, but because they trust their dominance. This is dark psychology in its purest form. Control perception, and you control the outcome. Every word you speak must sound intentional. Every decision must look final. People respect confidence that doesn't need proof. You must become that presence. The man who doesn't need to prove he's powerful, because power vibrates through his restraint. The illusion of certainty is more valuable than the reality of wealth. Poor minds reveal stress. Royal minds reveal nothing. Kings understand that emotions are currency, and wasting them publicly is the same as burning gold. When you have nothing, you can still rule through composure. You can control your body language, your reactions, and your narrative. Even your silence can command a room if it's backed by conviction. The weak think they need material things to gain status. But the strong know status is energy. It's how you sit, how you speak, how you breathe. Control those, and you can lose everything and still look like the one who decides. That illusion intimidates everyone who is secretly fragile. People serve confidence because it gives them something to believe in. They'd rather follow a calm liar than a panicked truth-teller. That is human nature, and Machiavelli mastered it. You must play the role so completely that even your reflection starts to believe it. When you act like a king long enough, the world aligns with that belief. It's not pretending. It's programming your subconscious to command rather than comply. We arrive at the ultimate weapon. The man who needs nothing controls everything. This truth is what terrifies the system the most, because our entire society is built on dependency. Every advertisement, every social norm, every relationship model is designed to make you crave, to make you need, to make you attach. But the moment you stop needing approval, comfort, or certainty, you become untouchable. Machiavelli identified the core drivers. Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. The detached man is feared because he cannot be seduced by either. When you no longer hunger for validation, no one can lure you. When you stop needing affection, no one can break you. When you don't chase money, people start offering it to earn your attention. Detachment is not coldness, it's control. It's the art of mastering desire so that it doesn't master you. Weak men worship what they lack. Strong men observe what they want and choose strategically if it's worth their energy. Detachment is the difference between desperation and dominance. It makes your presence heavier, your decisions sharper, your aura unpredictable. And unpredictability is pure power. People fear what they can't predict because it makes them feel powerless. That's why the man who stays calm while everyone else is emotional becomes the center of gravity in every room. He doesn't react. He calculates. He doesn't beg. He chooses. His silence makes others talk. His stillness makes others fidget. This is dark psychology at its highest level. The less you show need, the more control you have over those who do. When you detach, you no longer serve other people's expectations. You stop being manipulated by the fear of loss. You stop reacting to insults, delays, betrayals, or even praise. You become emotionally self-contained, and that makes you unpredictable. The world can't play games with someone who refuses to participate. The poor man clings to everything, money, people, opinions, because his identity depends on them. The powerful man can walk away from anything and remain himself. Detachment builds that strength. It's the silent declaration that nothing owns you. Not success, not failure, not even love. That's not heartlessness. It's emotional strategy. You can love deeply, but you must never need deeply. You can care, but never depend. That difference separates kings from captives. The detached mind doesn't rush, doesn't chase, doesn't prove. It lets others exhaust themselves trying to impress or understand. Meanwhile, it observes everything, collecting data, calculating the right moment to strike. That's control, moving when you choose, not when you are provoked. You must learn to detach from outcomes because obsession blinds judgment. Detachment sharpens it. When you stop needing success immediately, you make better decisions. When you stop fearing loss, you stop losing power. Once you reach this state, people start chasing your attention because your indifference makes them feel unimportant. That is dominance. Never think you're poor, even when you have nothing, because poverty isn't a condition. It's a mindset. The man who controls himself, his emotions, his focus, his reactions, is richer than kings who depend on others for validation. Machiavelli taught that fortune favors the prepared mind, the one that knows how to adapt, to act without begging, and to rise without applause. You can lose money, relationships, comfort, but if you refuse to lose control, you will rebuild everything stronger than before. The poor man waits for a miracle. The powerful man becomes his own. The truth is, life will test you. It will strip you down, betray you, humiliate you, and demand to know who you are when you have nothing left. Most will crumble, but you will not, because now you understand. Kings are not born from comfort. They are forged in chaos. Every struggle is a crown in disguise. Every scar is proof that you survived where others surrendered. You don't need validation. You don't need wealth. You don't need luck. You need control. You need strategy. You need the ruthless discipline to rise silently until the world has no choice but to notice. That is how power is built. Not through noise, but through consistency. So stop saying you're broke. Stop saying you're trapped. You are neither. You are unrefined power waiting to be shaped. You are the storm they never saw coming. If this message hit you, prove it to yourself. Like this video, save it. Come back to it when the world tries to make you kneel again. The war for your mind is won one battle at a time. This was your first. Now go and fight. I'm out. So now you are the storm. You feel the shift inside. The slave mind is broken. But listen to me and listen closely. This is where most men fail. They feel the power inside, but they forget the most critical rule of the game. The world does not care what you feel inside. The world only reacts to what it sees. A lion does not announce its hunger with pleas. A king does not display his empty treasury to his subjects. Why? Because perception is the first and last battlefield. The moment you look poor, you become prey. Your first and most sacred law from this day forward is this: never look poor. This is not about vanity. This is not about wearing expensive clothes you can't afford. This is a strategic psychological war. It is the art of projecting an unshakable reality of abundance and power so that the world is forced to reflect it back to you. When you look poor, you invite predators. You signal desperation. You tell every person you meet, I have nothing to offer. You can take advantage of me. Your slumped shoulders, your hesitant speech, your cheap, unkempt clothes, they are all a language. And right now, you are speaking the language of a victim. We are going to change your language. Number 8, the architecture of appearing powerful. This is a science. We will build your new appearance from the ground up, layer by layer. Your body is the first thing people see. A weak body broadcasts a weak mind. Posture. Stand like a king who owns the ground beneath his feet. Your shoulders are back, your chest is open, your spine is straight. This is not just confidence. It is a territorial claim. It says, my space is non-negotiable. Gaze. Your eyes are your most powerful weapon. Practice a steady, unblinking gaze. Do not look away first. The person who breaks eye contact submits. Your gaze should be calm, assessing, and utterly fearless. It should say, I see you and I am not impressed. Movement, move with deliberate slowness. Hurry is the trademark of the desperate and the unimportant. A powerful man moves as if he has all the time in the world, because his time is the most valuable asset in the room. No fidgeting, no nervous tics. Absolute physical control. Second layer, the voice, the instrument of command. Your voice is a tool of influence. A poor man's voice is high-pitched, rushed, and filled with filler words, like, sorry. Pitch, lower the tone of your voice. A deeper pitch is subconsciously associated with authority and power. Pace, speak slowly. Let your words hang in the air. Punctuate with silence. Make people lean in to listen to you. Do not vomit information. Let every word have weight. Clarity, eliminate all filler words. Speak in full, decisive sentences. Do not mumble. Your voice should not ask for permission. It should state facts. Third layer, the garb, the uniform of a king. You do not need a wardrobe of luxury. You need a uniform of quality, fit over fashion. A poor man in a cheap, well-fitted suit looks more powerful than a rich man in an ill-fitting designer outfit. Your clothes must be clean, pressed, and fit your body perfectly. This signals discipline and attention to detail. Neutrality. Avoid loud logos and flashy colors. Power dresses in silence. Navy, black, gray, white. These are the colors of authority. They do not scream for attention. They command it through presence. Grooming. You must be impeccably groomed at all times. A fresh haircut, trimmed nails, clean skin. This is not about beauty. This is about signaling that you have the discipline and self-respect to maintain order in your personal domain. Now let's talk about the mindset behind the appearance. This is where dark psychology becomes your daily practice. Machiavelli said, the vulgar crowd is always captivated by appearances. He was right. Most people are simple. They cannot see your bank account, but they can see your confidence. They cannot measure your intellect, but they can feel your composure. They will use these superficial signals to decide whether to respect you, fear you, or exploit you. The weak man shares his problems, hoping for pity or help. The strong man knows that revealing struggle is revealing a weakness. It shows you are not in control. Your battles are your own. Fight them in silence. When someone asks how you are, your answer is always a calm. I'm building or I'm focused. Never. I'm struggling or things are tough. The more you speak, the more you devalue your words. Silence creates mystery. Mystery creates respect. When you are silent, people project power onto you. They assume you are thinking, planning, observing. A man who talks constantly is a man who is trying to convince others and himself of his own value. You do not need to be convinced. Your silence will convince everyone else. This is the ultimate test. When pressure comes, when you are insulted, when a deal falls through, when you face a setback, your face must show nothing. No panic, no anger, no disappointment. Practice a blank stare. Let the world throw its worst at you and respond with a calm, interesting. This unnerves people more than any outburst. It makes you unpredictable and therefore powerful. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you surround yourself with broke, complaining, negative people, their energy will infect you. You must be ruthless. Distance yourself from anyone who speaks the language of poverty. You cannot build a palace while living in a landfill. Your inner circle must be a fortress of ambitious, focused, and powerful thinkers.